The Sex Ed with Tim podcast is recorded on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13, signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit, and the Williams Treaty, signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands.
You're listening to Sex Ed with Tim.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Sex Ed with Tim podcast. I'm your host, Tim, certified sex educator. I identify as a chaotic homosexual. And why are gay men so sassy? Because we're all fucking assholes. But, no, okay. No, that...
I didn't want to disrupt your opening.
No, it's fine. That was... I wasn't even feeling it at that point. Whatever, it's fine. Listeners, the very handsome voice that you hear on the other end of the mic is none other than Cale, the founder, the CEO, I don't know what else, the head honcho, the boss ass bitch of the MŌN App.
The biggest hoe on MŌN.
The biggest hoe on MŌN. Hey, Cale, how are you?
I'm great, Tim. Thank you for having me on. And also, thank you for being part of the community and one of our early featured users.
Oh my God, you did not have to give me all the credit.
I gave you more titles than you gave me.
I know, seriously, like, I'm going to die. If I do not have any attention on me, I will die like Tinkerbell. So anyways, before we start off, Cale, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself and MŌN?
Hi, I am Cale. I am the queer founder of MŌN, and MŌN is the leading audio community for conversation centered on sexual wellness. And what we're doing is bringing together experts as well as just different communities onto one platform to share experiences and knowledge and really move the conversation forward in a positive way and have a lot of fun. So really it's this like mismatch of expert commentary, community-driven conversations, and sometimes some NSFW rooms all together in one place.
I like how you said experts and then you dropped my name. I'm like, have you seen my content? I don't think I'm an expert in the loosest sense of the word. Oh my God.
We actually have, I think now, over like 500 experts on the app who are actually certified experts in some capacity.
Oh, wow. So I'm not the only one. Okay. All right. That makes me feel a little bit better because I feel like the advice I give out whenever I'm in rooms is like absolute garbage. And I just hope people will learn what not to do by example.
That's actually, that's one way of learning is what not to do.
Well, that's how I got into sex education in the first place is like I made a shit ton of mistakes. I hope nobody repeats my mistakes. Like getting a whole ass butt plug stuck inside of my ass. Flare base and all.
We haven't heard that on the MŌN App yet.
Have I not talked about this story?
I don't think you have.
I swear to God, I'm basically an open book. Like my legs are as open as the book, right? So
I feel the same way. I'm pretty open about it. What's funny though is like, just in terms of like talking openly about sex, I've always been that guy that like people go to when they get around, they want to talk about sex. And I'm not sure if that's just because like that's where I exude, but like, and like, cause I like try to pull it out of them. I don't know. But like, I lived in Copenhagen for a number of years, which is a really, really like, I don't want to say conservative by any means because they're not. They're very like, they're very progressive. But in terms of like conversation topics, sex isn't usually on the table to talk about. And somehow living over there, I was always the go-to guy to talk about like someone's recent like hookups or something they want to try. And I'm like, fucking tell me about it. Let's go. Because I'll tell you all the stuff I've done.
Look at you, Cale, the sex therapist.
Come through. Not a therapist.
Neither am I, but people have been telling me, like, aren't you a therapist? I'm like, not in the least bit. I do not. I can barely therapize myself. So do not come to me for help unless, like, it's more anal related.
Your problems here, only your fun.
Yeah, only your fun, because I cannot help you with your problems when I can barely help my own. So wait, how did you get to such a cool sex positive place? Like, tell us a little bit about like what it was like growing up as a gay man.
I was recently featured in Men's Health as like one of the 17 queer voices.
All right, about. Diva. Okay.
But I just want to point that out because some of the information's in there. But I was raised in a very progressive family. I'm from Texas, but I was raised in a very progressive family. Very cool.
Is everything bigger in Texas?
Yes. Zero hesitation. We're talking.
I gotta see this.
My hands right now, but
wow, shoulder to shoulder.
Shoulder to shoulder. These are some broad shoulders, and that's just the width.
I have met a challenge. I have not met a challenge I have not turned down. Oh my god.
So I grew up in a very progressive household. My family was very cool with everything. Sex was openly talked about in a very positive way. Even in that type of environment, I didn't come out until 23.
Oh wow, later than me.
Yeah, 21. I came out at 23. Well, I was outed at 22 because I was sleeping with the wrong person.
Oh, that sucks. Ugh.
But, I was outed in a different city than where, I was from. So I had just moved there. I had just moved to LA. And so I had one of those experiences that kind of, I don't know, it scared me, but also pushed me out of the closet, made me become a little more comfortable with myself and that identity. And then when I met my, former my ex-husband, I had come out about that time, right, when he and I had first met. And that's when I felt very comfortable with, like, who I was and what I wanted in my life. So then I just came out that way. I mean, as a lot of people do, I came out bisexual first.
Stepping stone.
Stepping stone. It's like, okay, last time I was with a woman was, do I have any interest? No. Yeah, so I came out first as obviously like sexually fluid and then bisexual and then gay. And I now identify, like, all honesty, identify as, what is it? It's sexually fluid, homo-romantic. So I am a gay man because I want to be in a long-term relationship with a man, right? Sexually, I'm into men. However, sexually, I'm also into women. And so for me, that's how I kind of distinguish it. And I got a lot of that information actually from Mistress K, who's one of the featured users on the app. Kind of gave me that language. So yeah, it's been a full journey for me from, closeted gay boy to bi to fluid to gay to married. Now divorced.
Yes, divorce. Come through divorce. With the alimony. I would argue that your journey has not come to an end yet, or maybe you're still in the self-discovery. Because coming out is like a lifelong thing.
Oh, absolutely. Right? And also just discovery. I mean, like the things that I am into sexually, but also the things that like I'm not into. Also just like how I approach a lot of my relationships now, both, in terms of like sexual relationships, partners, but also friendships and the people I just want in my life professionally. I think, knowing who I am has given me much greater understanding of what I want in any type of relationship I have, right? So whether that is someone I would be in business with, someone who's going to, be a partner, life partner, or someone I'm just going to fuck, right? I mean, I'm not that sure. Well, let's be honest, okay? I'm not putting that much thought into that part.
I'm like, you know what? I wish I could say I can relate, because at some point in my escorting journey, mixing business and pleasure was like a very, very gray line. So I'm wondering then, have you ever had the temptation of mixing business and pleasure, or like, is that...
Yeah, I have. Yes, I have. I will not go into too much detail, but yes, I have. I have slept with coworkers. I have slept with.
Haven't we all?
I have hooked up with partners who I then got into business with. I have. Things have happened, and it's one of those things that I don't necessarily regret, but it's also something I now know going forward that I need to really draw a clear line of like where I will not step, right? Like
boundaries.
Really, I do not want to shit where I eat anymore. It just complicates things. And now, especially with MŌN, no way will I jeopardize that, because this community and this mission is so important. So that's where I am.
What would you say is the main like business statement or mission statement, whatever, of MŌN?
So this is a practice I did early on, and this was kind of like the North Star for me and MŌN, and still remains so today. It's that, our mission is to provide a safe and inclusive place to talk about sex. That's really it. That's very simple and clear. But the outcome of that mission is that we can be that resource for anyone in Middle America to the Middle East to have a place and a community and a resource to come to and talk about sex in an open format with a supportive and inclusive community. So again, while the mission is very clear and succinct, the outcome of that and what we really hope to achieve and what we are achieving is much greater. It really is a global impact that we hope to make and that we are making so far. And we're having people come in from Egypt. We're having people coming from the Middle East, from all around the world, actually coming in and sharing experiences, not only about their relationship dynamics, but also about how they're navigating this in their own country, their own culture, etc. So it's been really eye-opening.
Oh my goodness. I actually never thought about it that way, because I thought that MŌN, purely from observation, and I'm not on MŌN all the time. So I have a life outside of an app. No, but from what I've observed in the rooms I've been in, it's mostly been North American. So to hear you say there are users from the Middle East coming in, or countries where homosexuality or any sort of quote unquote deviant sexual behavior is illegal or forbidden, that's really interesting to me.
Yeah, we had a chat the other day with someone from Egypt who was explaining their relationship dynamic and their kinks, and how pursuing that would essentially be a death penalty, not only just frowned upon, but actually punishable where they are.
Which is insane.
Yeah. I know. Believe me, I know. It's insane.
So crazy.
But hearing this stuff, it's really moving because, we had someone also sign in the other day. He's from India, and he was saying that he's never actually spoken his desire out loud before to other people because there's never been a safe place for him to talk about it. He said he has dipped his toe in the conversation, but then was called weird and something else. I can't remember. Basically, he was shunned and shamed for even dipping his toe into the conversation. And so when he came on the other day saying that, it was really moving because I joined the chat and started obviously talking to him. And that was something really interesting. And so to kind of go back to, the impact that I see us having and that we are having is we've had people come out as bisexual. We've had people come out as gay for the first time. We have had people also kind of reform their sex negative perception of certain kinks and whatnot, right? They kind of reformed that after engaging with the community and engaging with people. So going from more of an incel mentality to, wow, this is different. This is not how you should treat women. This is not how you should.
You mean to tell me that women don't owe me sex? Whoa.
Even as a gay man, they owe me sex.
No way. I do not believe you 1 second. That's so wild. So you can for those of you who don't know, MŌN is audio only. So it's you speak into the mic, there's rooms and everything. So it's really interesting to hear you say that there are people that are audibly on this journey, that you're finding out that wait, hold on. Maybe I shouldn't be shitty to women.
No, there was someone who came in here, and I'm obviously not going to out any users, but, Tim, I think anyone who's ever had to come out as other knows the power in using your voice and speaking something into power, right? So just coming out, you can write that down on a piece of paper, but it's not the same as saying, I'm gay, I am bi. Once you do that, it takes a whole new meaning to you. And so that's why I think also this platform is so powerful for all different communities to come on here and have the opportunity to really say who they are and sometimes for the first time, right? And that helps reframe a lot of the way in which they're approaching the situation. It's not just jerking off, Tim.
You know, as I record this while I'm actually jerking off under the table. No, I'm kidding. Hands free, I promise. Handshake. Although I have done that in a recording, and it was consensual, but well, you'll know. People will know when I release the episode. It was very much a flirtatious one. Oh, it was actually with another MŌN user.
Oh, can you please put that in the library?
You know what? When I publish it, yes. It was a very hot conversation, and we're planning on hooking up. Like, by the time this is going to come out, we've probably hooked up how many times? I will tell you who it is when I hit recording off. But thanks to your app, Cale, I was able to not only book a guest, but to book a hookup.
I'm so happy about this. See, we're bringing communities together.
Yes, it's International Dick.
We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Yes!
Hey, you sick motherfuckers! I've got a special treat for you. Need a new toy to spice up your sex life? Head over to loveshop.ca/sexedwithtim and get yourself a cock ring, a dildo, a vibrator, or even a life-sized sex doll. Damn, I guess love really does come in all shapes and sizes. Get 15% off your entire order when you use code SEXEDWITHTIM at checkout. They're shipping to all of Canada and the United States because North America is horny. That's loveshop.ca/sexedwithtim and use code SEXEDWITHTIM for 15% off your entire purchase. Happy orgasm! Do you like feeling sexy and looking sexy? Of course you do. Only my listeners are sexy as fuck. I have partnered with fetishwear designer Dale Kuda to bring you the hottest deals on custom jockstraps, harnesses, hats, and more. Head over to dalekuda.com, that's DALEKUDA.com, and use code SEXEDWITHTIM at checkout for 25% off the entire store. Yeah, you heard me. 25% off. And cherry on top, free shipping. Oh my god. I have a few of the stuff that he has made for me, and girl, I'm wearing it right now. I'm wearing like a little jockstrap so that I could easily just like slip a little butt plug or dildo every now and then here and there, and I'm on the train, I'm just like, thank you, Dale. That's dalekuda.com with the code SEXEDWITHTIM for 25% off your entire purchase with free shipping. With a deal like that, I swear I could come buckets, honey.
The show is about to begin.
Yes!
When you think of these audio-only rooms, you think like conversations and just like, you know, it sounds kind of just talk, yap. But what does MŌN do differently that other conversation audio-only apps do?
Yeah, so there's a number of things, and we put a lot of consideration into the features, but the positioning, and also, again, our mission. And so taking a step back and looking at some of the other apps out there, we realized that, okay, they are every conversation. They are touching on politics, they're touching on crypto, a lot of crypto, religion, like all kinds of stuff. And sex was such a small sliver of that. And we realized there was obviously a need for it and a desire for it, but they weren't really servicing this community. After doing enough research and then doing enough outreach, I realized, after looking at what was out there and seeing that, again, this community was either being, silenced or being blocked or
were you silent or silenced?
Yeah. We realized, wait, there's something here. And so for us, again, we looked at that and said, okay, well, we don't want to be every conversation. We just want to be every conversation on sex. So fuck crypto unless it ties back to sex.
Crypto sex. Ooh.
Well, then it comes to, let's talk about crypto in terms of, I don't think anyone wants to be paid in crypto right now.
No.
Sex work or anything like that, right? So if we're going to be talking about these other topics, let's figure out how it ties back to sex or sexuality or in some way that sex will touch your life, right? So point is, we realized we need to have a focused topic and a focused community, and not just every community, because that was just too much to manage, and also it would fall apart. And you can see what's happening on other apps right now. It's a complete mess. And so for us, we had a clear focus, and then we also set up clear community guidelines as well to ensure that anyone who comes here knows what they're here for, right? And you can see in the onboarding process, it was very deliberate to ensure that those community guidelines were very clear and upfront. And part of that, those community guidelines are no racism, no transphobia, no homophobia, no bigotry, no harassment of any kind, right? That is upfront, not going to do it, not going to tolerate it. And so, yeah, not only was it a focus, also it was guidelines. Then we also looked at privacy, right? So some of the other apps were fetching your contacts. We don't do that. That's a big no-no.
Yeah, that's so creepy and weird.
And we also understand that the topic of sex, unfortunately, still is taboo. It is. It's talking about sex is taboo. Not for us and not for the users on MŌN, but unfortunately it is. And so for us, we want to ensure that there was a safe place. And the way we make it safe, apart from having a focused community and community guidelines, it was also offering anonymity to users. So in case you did want to bring, your following from another platform or build a brand here, you can. But also if you wanted to come here and just kind of like lurk and see if it's for you, you can do that as well. And then we took that a step further and was like, so we're already anonymous. We have that opportunity. But there will also be creators on this platform who may be bigger names, right? And that's happening already. Bigger name creators who are coming on, or experts who are coming on, who may want to join a room or joining conversation, but not want to out themselves. And so like, well, how can we still allow them to bring their community here and yet still lurk or, participate in these rooms without
peeping Toms?
Exactly. How do we do that? And so we built out the privacy feature as well. So users can toggle on and off their privacy mode. So privacy mode essentially is a feature that allows a user to join a room. They can't speak because we want to protect the community. They can join rooms and listen in, and you can browse privately without outing yourself. And you can toggle that on and off as you please. So that way, you're not always in private mode. But if you're an expert, or if you're just interested in a conversation that's happening, say around fisting, you don't want to out yourself as being someone who's into fisting or in that chat. What you can do is go into private mode and join that room, And so for us,
I am proudly a fisting bottom, bro.
Well, there's a lot of topics on MŌN that they really kind of run the spectrum of, very vanilla to very, very hardcore taboo. And there is, I think, an opportunity for people to explore that. And not every time will someone want to, out themselves that they're interested in this topic. Whether or not they're interested in it sexually, they're interested in the topic. And so we wanted to make sure we protected those users. So to answer your question, there were a number of ways in which we wanted to differentiate ourselves, but also provide value. And at the end of the day, it comes back to value and our mission statement.
Mm-hmm. And also, I find it interesting that it's not just like conversations in the traditional sense, but like there are rooms that pop up that's just like a moaning contest or like a jerk off instruction room. I'm like, yo, what?
Like, what app am I on?
Yeah. I find that I'm clutching my pearl necklace right now. Oh boy. No, I don't have a pearl necklace. I have the pearl, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Just a jizzy neck. Oh my God.
A runny necklace.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's so cool. And like, you learn so many things from just being a user. And I'm wondering, Cale, for you personally, what are some of the things that you've learned through using the app? Like your sex education, how has it evolved from like younger Cale in Texas to Cale now?
Well, I've always been a very curious person, not only just in sexuality, in my own sexuality, but just in general about learning, not only from other people, but just about shit, I'm curious. And so for me, I think, I came into the app and into the community with a pretty good understanding of sex, sexuality, sex ed, etc. But what I didn't know much about was past the one-on-one stuff, right? I knew what I liked. I knew what I've done. I knew what I would like to do. But once you take a step past, some of the initial sex ed stuff, there's a whole other world out there that you can learn about. And that's BDSM. That is, the different elements of BDSM, different relationship dynamics, polyamory, Also cuckolding, which, as you know, is a very big topic on the app as well. So for me, I grew up in a family that was very progressive, very sex positive. A previous job I had, I was a CMO at a med tech and health tech startup. So a lot of what we did there, we worked with all these different experts. To launch the company, we worked with every expert under the sun you can imagine that touches on health or sex to figure out how we make the topic of sex palatable for everyday Americans. And so again, I came into MŌN with a very good understanding of sex ed 101. 201, though, was something I didn't understand, which was, again, the relationship dynamics, etc. And so since starting MŌN and being here, my evolution, again, kind of goes back to understanding my own identity and knowing that I don't need to really fit in a box, right? That like I'm gay because I want to date a man. And so therefore I'm gay, I can't be any other identity. And I'm happy with that. But it's so much more freeing to know that, yeah, I can say that I'm homo-romantic and sexually fluid. And that's an identity that I didn't have before or didn't have the words for before. So I guess, again, it's more that my eyes have been open to a whole new world of possibilities.
Your third eye is wide open right now.
Yeah, my third eye has been open to a whole new world of possibilities just by claiming an identity that I didn't have the words for. So yeah, my understanding of sexuality, sex ed has definitely been impacted from being in MŌN, but also being like, holy shit, you can do that?
What was that moment for you? What was that holy shit, you can do that? Can you provide an example?
Well, I think not that you can do that. It was more that there were, and it kind of goes back to cuckolding, because this was something that I didn't know so much about. I had participated in a cuckolding, like a situation, a cuckolding sexual experience in my past.
Wait,
I didn't have.
Sorry, hold that thought. Can you define cuckolding for the audience, please?
So cuckolding is essentially when one partner gets sexual gratification by either watching, hearing about, or knowing their partner is having some type of sexual relationship with someone else, right? So
A plus. And
it can go, and it's a whole spectrum, right? So for me, again, it was more, I didn't know what cleanup was. And that was something that I learned on MŌN.
Cleanup?
Yeah, cleanup.
As in just like wiping down surfaces?
With your mouth and her vagina.
Oh.
or in his butt. So basically it's cleanup is, going down on your partner after they have had sex with somebody else, and they
I have never in my life heard it talk that way before.
I think it's also called felching.
Felching? Okay, felching is a little bit different, because isn't that like when you come in an orifice and then you like suck it out or whatever?
I think it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, oh, okay. Cleanup is so tame sounding. Like, what? I thought that you'd be like getting sexual gratification from pledge. Like,
I think that's a praise kink, but we can talk about it.
Oh my god, cleanup! Now that you say this, I remember a time very specifically when I was hired by a couple where the wife was the one that got off on cuckolding. So I was fucking her husband. And she was just at the foot of the bed, rubbing herself and just like playing around with her clit until she came. And okay, like, wow, it's really intimate, and I totally understand where you guys are coming from. I wasn't really aware of the terminology at the time. I was just a little 22-year-old boy. I didn't know anything. I'm just here to fuck and get my money.
God. At 22, I was such a hoe. But that's a whole
Yeah, finish that thought.
That's a whole other life.
We want to hear it, Cale. We want to hear it. At 22.
Cale at 22 was living in Los Angeles.
Okay. Yeah.
Having a lot of fun. We'll
Isn't that what 20s are all about? Like exploring and like really finding yourself.
I'm in my 30s now and having the best time ever.
I mean, yeah. 30s are like your 20s, except you got adult money.
Yeah, it's great.
It's so fun. It's so much fun. And I'm still, at the time of this recording, I'm 29, so by the time this is released, I'm going to be a decrepit old 30-year-old. And I know, I'm so disgusting. I'm like a straight 30, but a gay invisible. Like, you know that saying where it's like, you're straight skinny, but gay fat?
Yes.
Like, it's so awful. It's so mean.
I had first heard that from a gay friend of mine in Austin when we first moved. We were in the pool together, and he was like, I gotta go work out. I'm like, oh, you look great. And I wasn't like trying to prevent him from going to work out, but the conversation was somewhere around that. And he was like, no, you don't get it. Like, I'm a straight fit, gay fat. I'm like, I've never heard that before, and it's awful. But it's honestly, it's accurate. It's awful. It's awful that it's accurate.
Yeah, it's so disgusting and vile, and it's like nothing is worse than like gay men's standards on each other, and it's like, I'm exhausted. Can I just get some dick and go? I do not care about these fucking labels, because I have been through the entire spectrum of gayness. I've been a twink. I have been a muscle jock. I have been, I don't know, a wolf. I've been like a hole. I'm still a hole. Proud, big gaping hole of the Greater Toronto Area, and I will fight anybody that tries to claim that title for themselves. And then of course the pandemic hits and my weight goes up and down. I'm all alone in the house. So like right now my body is kind of like in this weird, where is it kind of situation. So it's like, I don't know where I fit in. Like, which clique do I go to? Am I a bear? Am I a twink? Am I like, and it's just so much pressure.
You know, in the early days of MŌN and kind of figuring out, you know, some of the impact we could have, there were several conversations I had with, a lot of conversations I had with different communities. And one of them was with a very good friend of mine who's actually on MŌN today. And, you know, we were talking about some of the issues that he's experienced dating. He is, he's half Chinese, half American. So he's mixed race. He's from the Bay Area, lives in Los Angeles, has for a very long time, very handsome man. Very cool guy, very good friend.
Introduce me, please.
Yeah, I will. But, you know, he was, you know, we were chatting about his experience dating in Los Angeles, and not just dating in Los Angeles, but being a gay man who's half Asian, you know, using Grindr in his dating apps. And he was saying the amount of issues he's had and the racism he's faced as well. And he's like, you know, these are issues that not only I experience, but a lot of other people in marginalized communities experience within the gay community. He's like, these are things we're not talking about. The racism that we experience, that we all, you know, a marginalized community further marginalizing the own community. And these are topics that we weren't really talking about except for in our own like, echo chambers of people who, you know, who we know. But sadly, I had heard of it, but we hadn't really had that many discussions about it. Because again, like even that topic's kind of taboo. It's like, shit, like, you know, it's a heavy topic. Not really taboo, it's just more of a heavy topic. And so hearing it from him firsthand and being able to talk to him about it and his experience and how it made him feel. And then also talking to another friend of mine who's in the trans community. And she was saying, you know, Cale, if you can help the trans community's life suck 1% less, I'm all on board. And understanding the type of like issues that they experience as well. And so all of this is to say that, you know, one of the goals with MŌN was to provide a safe place, obviously, but also to bring communities together. So we can talk about these things and learn from each other. Because if we live in our own echo chambers, we can't really move the needle, right? We can't learn from each other if we're only talking with people who are like us. And so, yeah, that was kind of one of the early conversations in MŌN and the impact that we could have is that we can talk. We now have a place to talk about these things and address them and hopefully move it forward, right? And get the knowledge and get the language that we need to help move this conversation forward, whether or not it's or racism within the community or racism or homophobia within the BIPOC community or, you know, discrimination against trans people or, you know, fetishization of black bodies within the, you know, different lifestyle. Like there's so many issues that we could talk about that we're not. And I think now we have one.
Yeah, now that MŌN is present, we can actually have these really important conversations and on a much more global scale, because I'm pretty sure that even before MŌN or apps or whatever, these kinds of conversations were still happening. But I would imagine to like a much more local scale, because like it would just be like, you know, gays kikiing at the bar and like complaining or like going on, I don't know, AOL or whatever. But now, I don't know. I'm so young and ignorant. Read me. I had MSN, I had AOL, I had Friendster. Oh my God, MySpace. Like, wow. So yeah, like is like we did have those kinds of conversations, but not to the same impact that MŌN is aiming and achieving, right? So I remember this one time when I first came to North America and I opened Grindr, and I'm still like exploring my sexuality, and then I saw very explicitly this profile that said no fats, no femmes, no Asians, and I was like, whoa.
Like that's okay to say, and that's like culturally acceptable to say within your profile, is be so openly discriminatory.
Yeah. It like blew my mind. I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna move on. And then to have that experienced in person, like when I went to a gay bar for the first time, because when I'm all tidied up and everything, like back in my escorting days, I look very mixed race, and then they would always try to figure out what race I am, and when they find out I'm Asian, all of a sudden they go through all of these like stereotypes, like, oh, small dick, you're probably a bottom, which is like, I'll let you hire me to find out. But
the sexualization though of Asian men is a whole thing.
Yeah, but like, you know, because I was like Asian, and they fetishized me, I fucking played into that. They ate that shit up with a spoon. Oh my God, you're an Asian boy? Oh my God, please let me. I was like, all right, you're gonna have to pay me extra for that. So to like,
race plays another topic we talked about on MŌN a lot.
Exactly, race plays another topic, which is why I find it so interesting, and it's very important that these kinds of conversations are being had on a much more global scale rather than your local kikis at the bar or like whatever you see on your nearest grid. It's like the only way we can make any sort of global impact and lasting change is to have these kinds of conversations in a safe space, and also in a space that allows for these kinds of conversations. Now, what I'm wondering, because of the nature of the topic of like racial preference or something like that, or whatever, how does MŌN then ensure that these spaces remain safe? Because you, Cale, you can't just like go in and out of every single room because you're not on the app 24/7, right?
Right. So we have a number of things in place to keep MŌN a safe place. We're taking a number of steps further as well. Like we're doing a lot right now. Actually, we're pushing code live every day right now. But some of the early things we have in place is, one, we partner with a number of featured users. Right. I think we have over 50 featured users. You're one of them, but users who we trust, who we vetted, who that really align with the brand of MŌN in every way. So, there's always generally one featured user in a room, because right now, as you know, I think right now there's about 10 to 15 rooms firing up a day. And there's more happening every day, which is great. And because we're growing organically, that was the point, right? So we wanted to make sure that every feature we rolled out was going to add value. And then we kept the community safe, and the integrity of the community was intact. And so, featured users was a big play, but also there's opportunity for you to flag a user. You can flag a room. We get immediate notifications, and then we can look into it. Oftentimes, if it's done by a featured user, we can look into their complaints, and we can block that user from coming back onto the app. We're pushing code live right now, which I can't say too much about because it is confidential to the company, but we are taking a number of steps.
Fine, I can't get insider information. This is an exclusive interview.
There are a number of things we're doing as well to take those steps a bit further and add more protective layers and more control to the users to keep the community safe, right? Because we know that right now we've had such an incredible community come on board. We've had almost virtually zero problems until just we've had very small amounts of problems, and it's nothing that's unmanageable. But again, once we see these pop up, okay, great, here's where we need to act to ensure that everything stays safe. Here's where we need to, add more layers here to make sure that, the users are in complete control and that we're supporting that. So, I guess to answer your question, we rely a lot right now on self-moderation from the community, but also our community guidelines that are in place, flagging rooms, and also us on the back end being able to block users as needed.
And also, I feel like the fact that there are featured users present, it really shows like, hey, this is how you should conduct yourself. Don't be a fucking asshole and go dropping your isms left and right like some sort of jerk, right? Now, that said, why did you come to me?
I found your Twitter first, I think it was.
Did you?
I think it was Gay Slut Found or something like that.
Yeah, that's my personal one. Yeah.
And I was like, who is this person? And then I saw you did sex ed. I was like, okay, this is great. Oh, he already creates content. Oh, well, he's like right in line. Your content was really funny. I really enjoyed it. And I was like, he'd be a really great addition to the community just to like, one, be present and like add your funny spin. So, because again, I knew the comedy you were already bringing from your post and your content you would bring to MŌN. And so I was hoping that, when we did approach you, you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'll come on board. And then it's delivered since. So thank you for being part of the community. Because again, like you're bringing a lot of fun to the community and like a lot of levity to conversations that sometimes, can be, heavy. And I think, one, the community appreciates, but I also appreciate you being part of the community because, one, I fucking met you, and also we're having this conversation now.
Yes.
As I'd say, me personally, I mean, we talk about the app and how great the app is, but I always go back to, saying it's really, honestly, fuck the app. The app's technology. It's the community we're building. And this app would be nothing without the community and the people. And so it's people like you and so many other users who are part of the community that are making what it is. And so for that, I'm eternally grateful for everyone who has joined the community and who is, one, helping move the conversation forward, but also bringing different perspectives and making this an actual thriving, engaged community that it is.
Aw, thanks, Cale. You're so nice. I'll suck your dick later. If that's what you were asking with all those compliments, I get it. You just have to ask.
Thank you.
I love that there is a focus on community. And my next question then is, how many people or like what does it take to build an app to regulate this kind of global movement? Like, who's on your team? How do you make sure that everyone is on the same page?
Yeah, so I've been running teams for quite some time. I've run departments, I've launched companies, I've hired full teams before. So I came into this with a lot of experience and also a really great network of people that I knew, that I've worked with previously, that I trusted. And so I think at the beginning stages, it's understanding that, one, you have an idea that you can communicate, one that you're passionate about, and then also having one person, a critical team member who you can convince that we can pull this off. And that's kind of what I did. I mean, I brought in my co-founder, who's the CTO, and he runs our tech team expertly. He's fucking incredible. But he and I have been friends for over 6 or 7 years, and I've been pushing work his way for all these years. And so finally, I had this crazy idea, and I was like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And it sounds cool, but let me think about it. Let me think about it, because everyone has to take a moment of pause before jumping into sex, right? That's just what it is. I mean, the conversations on sex are taboo, as we talked about, and so when you decide to enter that space publicly, it's like, okay. Am I going to lose friends? Am I going to lose opportunity? And quite frankly, we've only seen opportunity, which has been fucking amazing. But yeah, so with that said, what it takes to build a team or build MŌN to do what we're doing, it's just the two of us. And then we have a team of developers that he runs. And then I am, and we have a social person who does some stuff here and there. But primarily, it's just the two of us doing this every day.
What in the Silicon Valley is happening here? Wow. Yeah, it really does sound like it.
Yeah, I mean, we're working with a lot of really great people. and really great organizations who are helping us grow the community. But in terms of the internal workings of MŌN, it's a small team. Yes, we have a full-time iOS team. We have a full-time Android team. We have project managers. But in terms of the core team, it's the two of us.
That probably helps with like logistics and everything. And like, I got myself, my partner, and like we're both on the same page. We're both sex positive, and you share that common vision of what MŌN has to share for the world.
And he's straight.
Really?
Yeah, he's straight.
So he's boring?
Yeah, he has a wife and a child coming.
That's so weird.
He's actually based in India as well, and so our time. So we're 24/7 team or 24-hour team where I will work throughout the day while I'm kind of signing off. He's coming on. We touch base, do a handoff, and kind of go from there. And
I just don't understand heterosexuality. I don't. I know you said you're sexually fluid, but like I just do not get it. It is. I don't understand the logistics behind it, like which penis goes in which butt.
Just try it a few more times.
The way that you held your fingers like a pussy in front of your mouth.
Sorry for being crass. I forget that we're
crass. Have you heard the show, Cale? This is the exact definition of crass and disgusting. No, but I also like want to commend you for your sexual fluidity, because not a lot of gay guys own up to that, because it's like there's this whole label of like gold star gay, and it's like just because you've been with a woman or are still interested in some women, that automatically diminishes your gayness. And it's like
it's interesting. It took a lot of work for that, but my several of my partners before, they were with women for very long-term partnerships. Being with partners who have also been, with women or sexually fluid, it make it that difficult to kind of, for us to talk about it. Like, yeah, that'd be fun to do together, right? But that'd be a lot of fun. And so
in a minute, you're going to need a sentimental man or woman to pump you up.
Yeah. So again, I think it's just about talking about it and having people you're comfortable talking about it with. And I think, at the end of the day, communication is so important. And that's why, again, MŌN, I think, is so special to me and so many people, is that there's now a place to talk about this shit.
I think so too. What do you want the listeners to take away from, if anything, about MŌN, or like the conversations that are being had around sexuality?
I think there's a space for everyone on the platform. There's a space for every conversation. We just ask that you come curious and come kind.
Come on my face.
Just come.
Just come. Come. Wherever, whenever.
I think that's enough of an ask right there. Come to MŌN and know that this is a sex positive community. It's a supportive community. It's a place where you can really find people like you with similar interests, but also find new interests that you maybe didn't know about, because you haven't had the opportunity to really explore. And now there's a place for that. So yeah.
Well, yay! Come through self-discovery. Oh my God, Cale, that is so great and so amazing. And we're just about out of time, but before we wrap up, and everybody knows I hate to wrap up anything, Condom, I barely know him.
Sponsored by Muscovy.
Sponsored by Trojan? No, thank you.
Muscovy.
Muscovy! No, I raw dog it every single time. I do not have any protection because I hate myself. No, I'm kidding. Please protect if you want. I always said I'm a certified sex educator, but I'm not a good one in any sense of the word.
Just don't take my advice.
Just don't take my advice. Do the exact opposite of everything I'm telling you. But Cale, before we wrap, I have a segment on the show, and I only do this for guests that I actually enjoy. So you're one of them. This segment is called Naughty or Nice. So I will let you pick without knowing what's coming up. Do you want to go naughty or nice?
Naughty.
Naughty? So naughty first is a game called Red Flags. You're going to go on a date, and you have to justify why this date is worth our time. Okay? I'm going to give you three.
Why do we want to?
Yes. Yeah, you're going to be a red flag apologist. Why this red flag is worth going on this date. I'm going to give you three different qualities in this date. And one of them is going to be a red flag. So you're going to have to fight for this date, okay? So the first date we're going to go on is that you're not going to age while you date him, okay? You'll never age while you date him. The next is that he's completely blind to your flaws. That's sweet. But he's a sleep puncher.
Well, here's the thing. You're never going to age, and he's blind to your flaws, such as perhaps a big gaping hole. So as a sleep puncher, it's really beneficial to you. So I
hate that you describe that as a flaw. That's so rude.
Only if it doesn't close in the sleep. Only if it's a gape while asleep.
Just permanently open, like a fucking Walgreens. Oh my god.
Or you know what? How about this? Your flaws is you have a prolapse, and he helps you punch it back in.
Can anyone in the science community confirm that a punch is going to shut me up?
Never take my advice. Not a therapist. Just as we started this with, I will end it as well that I am not a therapist. Do not take my advice.
Please, neither of us are qualified in any way to give out advice. All right, fine. I will go on this date. Jeez, but I'll think about it.
Okay, well, also, you're into BDSM. Or you're into, like, rough play. I don't know.
Yeah, but during my sleep, girl, I need to stay beautiful.
Well,
I've only got so much time.
Consent, non-consent, so...
I'm not consenting to getting punched in my fucking sleep. I need to knock the fuck out. Well, okay, maybe you know what?
There we go.
I just walked right into that one too. If I wake up in the middle of the night, he'll punch me out. That's all right. Fine, dream boyfriend. All right. Wow. Bachelor number 2. He volunteers with elderly people. He gives billions to your favorite charity. So he's very much into charity work. But guess what? His college nickname was Puke Crotch.
Okay, let's see.
Are you going to want to dig into this history?
He sounds like a Supreme Court justice.
I wonder how.
Well, on the upside, he's got money. And on the upside, you have a choking fetish. So it really works out.
Oh my god. Cale, just read me the filth. All these things people will learn about me if they sign up for MŌN. It is, or they just listen to this goddamn godforsaken show. I don't know why I still have this. Fuck's sake.
So how would you answer it? Either of those.
Oh my god, that's a good question. I mean, listen, I love charitable people, but guess what? College nickname. I hope to not be curious enough to be like, let's leave that in the past. What if your name was just a typo for Luke Watch, right? And it was just a typo in the college admission that it was Puke Crotch. So all is forgiven at that point, right?
I'm lucky just looking at my keyboard and being like, wait, that could actually happen, the P&L.
Luke Watch, right? So I'm hoping it could have just been a typo in the admissions paper, Puke Crotch.
So we went about this entirely like different ways, because I thought because we were going naughty that we had to keep the theme of it being a naughty, of us defending it in like this naughty way.
I mean, like the whole naughty part of this is like it's a red flag.
You went very vanilla.
I did, and that's so.
I'm like, because he's punching.
That's so not on brand. Not on brand for me.
That was so not on brand.
I know. What's wrong with me? Am I turning into some fucking vanilla nonsense loser? What? I mean, vanilla is my favorite ice cream. I love it, and you know what? Maybe it's time for a change. Who knows? It's like by the time this is released, it's 2023. New year, new Tim. We'll see.
We're all evolving.
I'm devolving. I am rapidly decrepit and aging like not even wine, just like cheese. Anyways, so the nice portion of this game is actually quite wholesome. And they're just like questions about sex and just like really asks of you to like dig a little deeper. So the first question I have here is, what's the closest you've felt to somebody without touching them?
Can I say my dog?
I mean, hey, there's no right answer to this. That's so sweet.
No, I don't know. I've had long distance relationships with partners in the past, so I would say that could be qualifying for this answer. But I wasn't really great at long distance relationships. It was a lot of 2 hours on the phone, an hour and 45 minutes of it was fighting, 15 making up. So I don't know. Yeah,
just communication then. Just like really good communication skills have made you feel close to someone?
Yeah, I guess it's communication skills, yeah. I guess when someone's open and honest with me, I think that is such a turn on. When someone's just, not just a turn on, but also just makes me feel close. When someone is just unapologetically honest about something that, that's important to them. I've had partners tell me about, their status. I've had partners tell me about, their family dynamics and how their parent has been lost. So, I mean, things like that.
That's so hot. Talk to me about your trauma. Oh my god, sexy.
What is that called? It's like what's it?
Trauma bonding. God, trauma bondage.
That's my kink. Trauma.
That is my kink. I want to hear how your father walked out on you at 4 years old. Sexy. Oh my god, nothing makes me come faster than hearing about domestic abuse stories. Jesus.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's so hot to me. Is it love or is it trauma bonding? We'll never know. I need help, people. Find me another therapist. Oh my god. All right, let's move on to the last question before I get canceled any further. What do you think you are searching for through sex?
Well, at one point when I was younger, it was affirmation. And then as I got older, sleep.
Girl, same.
I mean, let's be honest. Yeah, can I just go to bed after?
Yeah, or like, where's the nearest restaurant after this? Because I am hungry. I did a full bottom cleanse and now I am starving.
I haven't eaten in 14 hours.
Yeah, truly. So I've done my job as a bottom. Now time to feed me.
Now feed me.
Yeah. My God. I get it. But for me, I look for like genuine connections through sex. Like, I guess it's because the nature of gay relationships and same-sex relationships it is very hypersexualized. So for me, as I've discovered through my own sexual journey, I use sex not only for a maintenance kind of situation, but also to find genuine connections. And I've actually made really good friendships through sex. There was this one time a couple of weeks ago where I was at a sex party. My friend who was moving away from Toronto going to North Carolina, he hosted a huge sex party at his house. And I was bent over and then I just felt a dick inside of me and I totally was consenting. That's fine. And then we were having a good time. I turned around and I saw a stranger I've never met before. And I'm like, oh my God, you're fucking me so good. I give out my hand. I'm like, I'm Tim. Nice to meet you. It's like, I'm David. It's been a pleasure fucking you. Then we've been friends ever since. So we've had coffee. We've been to the movies. It was just a nice little thing. So yeah, right. Like you can have sex without all the emotions, and you can have sex with the emotions, however you want. I just found it.
It can totally be transactional now. So this is what it is. We're just fucking. That's all.
I mean, yeah, transactional. I busted out the Square app and like, here's your card, and then
I
sign on the dotted line. My QR code on the back of my shoulder. Sign on the dotted line.
QR code on my lower back.
Deliveries in.
That's the new bullet target. Instead of tribals, it's a QR code with your Venmo and Cash App.
Honestly, that is a smart idea. Where was this when I was escorting? I would always be like cash up front. Oh my god. I'm gonna come out of escorting retirement just to get a QR code of my Venmo and Cash App. My link tree is there and everything. It's gonna be lit. I'm gonna be rolling in dough. Oh my god. Thank you for that idea. I'm totally stealing that. I'm not giving you any credit whatsoever. You have enough success. Oh my god. Well, Cale, again, thank you so much for coming on the show. And one day I hope you can come on my face. But I sincerely hope that we can connect in person at some point. I will be in and out of the United States the same way I'm in and out of how many guys, I can't even remember. But to all the people that have made it this far into this chaotic ass conversation, do you have any like parting words of wisdom? Let them have it. Anything to plug?
I love the chaos. it's been so fun.
I have to end it off the way I usually end it off. It's please make like a butt and plug away anything you want the audience to find.
So with that said, we are on Android and we are on iOS. So find us in the app stores. You can search the MŌN App, TheMON App, and you can find us on all the platforms.
You said pee-pee. Well, oh my god, thank you again, Cale, for putting up with my insanity and my semi-drunkenness. So, and to all the listeners that have made it this far into this insane episode, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Sex Ed with Tim podcast. I will see you at the next one. Bye. Mwah. Thanks for listening to the Sex Ed with Tim podcast. Sex Ed with Tim is created and produced by me, Tim Lagman. Music is Aces High by Kevin MacLeod. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GaySlutClown and at Sex Ed with Tim. You can also like and follow me on the Sex Ed with Tim Facebook page. If you enjoyed the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for all your support, you dirty little slut. Mwah.